Welcome, welcome. If you are new, my name is Daniel. I practice my AI skills online and record it so that future versions of AI can use that to help me learn easier. And that's my story. So today's chapter of my story is the fantasy football draft results. I personally am so excited to talk about my fantasy football team, even if it is just to a camera with a little green light on it, it still feels good. I did use AI to help me draft. I'm going to cover quickly how I did that and what that means. Then, how did I use it on draft day? And then, well, part of the secret to using AI is I claimed I could pick my team before the draft and get all the players that I wanted. Did it happen? Let's see. Okay, here's the AI drafting equation and how it all worked. It's going to rely on a couple things that I think are truths, but I want to say them out loud because if you don't, this process may not work for you. Second, the research I did brought out a couple of facts that seem substantial and substantiated. All right, here is the backbone of using AI to win your draft. Number one, I used statistics to figure out how to draft people. And to me, a statistic is a historical event that's been recorded. So while I definitely have opinions on how a hurt left tackle or a change in offensive coordinator could help, I left those out on the side for us to tweak the numbers that AI is going to give us and instead focused on what do the actual numbers tell us. Also, variance in statistics is seldom a positive, just because it skews the frequency of reliability. I don't even know if that's true. I just kind of like those words together, but it does. Flatline performance is reliable, and you can use that a lot more effectively than the same average that's lots of highs, lots of lows. And third, maybe most important, in your fantasy football league, in my fantasy football league, the winner every week is determined by the person that has more points in those 6, 7, 8, 9, however many starting slots there are, and they're all conditional. You can't put 10 quarterbacks in. They have to be certain positions to fit. Whichever team has the most total points out of just those spots every week is called the winner. And people only get points if they play in a game. So, looking through the numbers, as it turns out, one number tracks incredibly well to performance. Meaning, if a person is a top 10 at their position, a top 20 at their position, what else do they have in common with the other people? They're all in the same neighborhood for touches, opportunities. I know we're not breaking incredible ground with that, but I don't think that we draft that way, and that's what this is about. So, the top 10 running backs over the last 10 years, very rarely did I see someone in the top 10 that was outside the top 25 in opportunities. Why? Because you have to have the ball to do stuff with it. Also, most NFL players, if given a large number of opportunities, get similar statistics. So running back on Team A with 16 carries and 5 targets in the passing game usually performs similarly to running back B on a different team who gets 16 carries and 5 passing targets, with a couple of exceptions. There's a small group of people that don't perform well, and we hear about that after every week of football. Bob, we can't keep running with this running back if he's only going to get 52 yards on 27 carries. It's just not efficient enough for offense. But more, we hear about the other group, right? 8 carries, 192 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Hello, A-Chan, off the waiver wire 2 years ago, crushing my fantasy football team. Hello, sir. There are certain players have much better performance than the norm when given the same number of opportunities. And those are the freaks. Right now, Chase and Bijan, you just know every year they're going to crush. Jefferson has been rolling out top 5 years every year he's in the league, basically. McCaffrey, you knew you had a top 3 running back for 5 years in a row with this guy? Since there are a limited number of spots that points count for, meaning more than half my team doesn't get any score every week, the more of those premium players in those spots, the better off I am. So the way that the system works is fill every spot every week with a player that's going to get in that top 15 opportunities, top 20 for a wide receiver in opportunities, and make sure every spot is filled that week and prioritize backups That's how the system works. And because opportunities and ADP are not tied together, it's not too difficult in a snake draft to draft far enough past ADP that you can handpick players without fear of them being taken. If I'm picking a player whose ADP is between 50 and 70, and we're on pick 38, no one's looking that far down. No one's looking 25 picks down. They're not. Yet, that player 25 picks down might have just as many opportunities going for them as someone that's being picked right now. All right, so how do you do that going into a draft? In a snake draft, it's easy. Use this list right now. In round 1, pick someone in the top 20 with ADP. Anybody you want. Round 2, 21 to 30, and so on. Auctions are different because anybody can take anybody at any time. Let's take a look at how auction draft works with these same principles. Here is my draft cheat sheet. I create it before the draft. I have it open during the draft, and I use it to keep me organized as I go through. So I looked at all the opportunities and then decided the best values for the opportunities, how to get the most opportunities for the least amount of money. And remember, we prioritize these elite players. Do I have enough money to get more than one elite player on my team? You only have $200, and an elite player goes for 60, you kind of only get one. I decided to go with 2 by drafting the 2 positions that are the least expensive, which is quarterback and tight end. So I decided to get Bowers and Lamar Jackson. So I go through the Lamar, the running backs that I want. I got previous videos on the importance of having this handcuff and how well it helps in bye weeks and with the new schedule. If you really want to get into that minutia, it's in the YouTube somewhere, I promise. And even, okay, after I have my starting 2 running backs, what am I doing on the bench? Because roster construction is important, and you do run out of spots. And are there flyers you can take before the draft? I go in and I put, okay, this is my team's going to look like. It's going to be this quarterback, these running backs, these wide receivers, and these tight ends. These are givens. I can outbid everyone for them. All these people are on my team. And then I just have to pick a 5th running back, 2 more wide receivers, a kicker and a defense, and a freebie. That's it. And that freebie would be either a defense, a wide receiver, or a running back, or a quarterback. And then when I go through to the draft, I just type in who I got, and I stay on track. And I put in how much I actually spent versus how much I expected in ADP, and I put a little subtraction equation, so it lets me know, was that transaction add money to my available funds at the end, or does it take money away? And if we see, the first guy I drafted was Bowers, the next one was Lamar. After Bowers, I was $1 worse than my expected spend. And after I drafted Lamar, I was even. And then I think Henderson went next, and I'm suddenly up $6. And then I picked up a running back that wasn't Bucky Irving. I was up another $4 over what I thought I'd spend on Bucky. And so now I'm up $10, $11. That's really helpful because now I'm comfortable going up to get someone way more than it costs because I have the extra money. And it does one other thing, which is it does allow control of the draft late if you have a lot of extra money. And that's really helpful, not so much to get the people that you want, but to push other people out. And as you can see, I missed out on Bucky Irving, and then there's no reason to take White. And I started filling in who I actually took. In general, that is what I do during the draft. I'm filling those things in and crossing people out and using my little spiel here to say, okay, I wanted these 4 running backs, and this is the 5th one I want. Here's number 6, number 7. This is what happens when I take him and him. It takes a little time, but I like it. Here's what ended up happening. This is the actual lineup. These are all my starters. These are 3 flex-worthy people. And all of these positions should have starter-level opportunities. That's the opportunity-based algorithm. These people definitely don't, but do they have the potential to have enough if someone else gets hurt? And I'd make the argument that this guy belongs down here. So, don't come with me, Warren. Stay up here. All right, here we go. So this is a rating of, does my player expect to get enough opportunities? Does Bowers? Yes. Jackson? Yes. Henderson? No. But like I said, this is an outlier. I wanted him on my team. I'd rather lose with him on my team than win. How's that? For the chance that he's good and fun. And Giants fans, go get Drew, what's his name? Is it Drew Lock? Go get him. Same reason. What if he's good? You'll hate yourself. You imagine rooting for him every weekend when the Giants are in second place pushing the Eagles, and you're like, I didn't see the value. Come on, man. Giants haven't been good for a while. Go get that guy. He'll suck. But go get him, just in case. Everybody else, it seems the numbers bear out they will have as many opportunities as the elites in the game. So this is what the theory of everything's based on. These two have outsized performance for their position. Phone's ringing. And then I showed you the fail. Most of the other people, the production's there, which means they've done it before. The third section, the vibe section, it isn't all numbers. It absolutely matters a new coordinator. It absolutely matters if people are hurt or healthy. It absolutely matters it's been several years with the same coordinator. All these things are important. It's just really hard to numerically weight them appropriately. So there is some feel that has to go with that. And I put a couple of notes down like that did play in, right? Why did I pick Bowers? Because he outscores everyone else at the position by more than anyone else. He did it in college and he did it in the pros for a year. And there's a ton of historical precedence for 1 or 2 tight ends in the league to be scoring 4, 5, 6 points higher per game, not than the average, but from the number 3 or 4 tight end. Meaning if you have one of those tight ends, you have a touchdown lead every game. And that's massive. Look back at Kelsey, when it was Kelsey and the Baltimore tight end, Andrews. And I'm looking now, and you've got the tight end in Arizona and Bowers. And their numbers are shockingly, they're better than every other tight end, more than any quarterback is better than another quarterback, more than a running back is better. Bowers also has a quarterback who's known to be competent, a coach who's known to be really good, Super Bowl winner, right? And a coordinator who is really good at motion, and Bowers is a move guy. So you put all that together, and it's, man, he's going to do as well as last year if he doesn't get hurt. And he has upside beyond, and he was the best tight end in football last year. He was the best. Just eyeball test, man. So enough about that. Jackson's Jackson. Jacobs was not in my price range, so he was an upgrade over the people that I had. Sutton's the one guy that I would talk a little smack about. He's a physical freak. He plays in a Sean Payton offense as the number 1 primary target. And he has a quarterback who is good on the move, which is usually when defenses break down. And I don't understand why he's not a top 10 guy. I don't understand why he isn't dramatically better than some second-year player in Jacksonville. I just don't get it, and I'm glad to be proven wrong. But the numbers don't make any sense there. And the Warren thing, it's an Aaron Rodgers issue. I had 2 Jets last year. I think that's my greatest accomplishment. I finished the best record in fantasy football without making the finals. So I didn't even get the last win or 2 wins and still had the most wins. And the first 2 players I picked that I spent over $100 of my $200 on were a Jets wide receiver and a Jets running back. I still finished first. Still. This stuff works. Now you know the function of it, right? The theory, then what I did in the draft, the help I got, the tools that I used, the thought process I was doing it, and how successful it was. Did I just get lucky? What else did I look at besides all these numbers? So there you got it. Hopefully in a relatively short period of time. I don't care who you picked. I hope you had a great time with your draft. And remember, fortunately for football, everybody gets hurt. Waiver wires are packed, and people panic like the Titanic the first time they hear a podcast that their player's not doing well. So where there's football games, there is hope. Good luck this year, unless you're playing me. And if there's anything valuable in mid-season numbers that I see, I'll love sharing it. Have a great season.